Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the True Beast Podcast, Muscle Bully Season 2, Episode 7. Tonight we got another banger. We got us another ABKC Judge coming on. Y'all know the routine. We're going to get all the way live with it. We're going to ask them questions. Get my co-host in here. I hope everybody's doing good today. If this is your first time tuning in, if you see the question mark at the bottom of the screen, if you can.
What's going on?
Got a question? Put your question. What's going on, my guy? But yeah, if this is your first time tuning in, you see the question mark at the bottom of the screen, please be sure to put your question inside the question mark. It helps us get us faster response time on your questions, and it also gives you a chance to be entered inside our giveaways when we do our giveaways.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, Stan?
No audio.
I'm just fucking with you. I just wanted to get
you. He ain't said
nothing. I saw his bounce, man. You've been busy over there, huh?
Yeah, man.
I haven't heard much out of anything out of you. I'm like, he must be hauling ass over there getting those things out.
We're trying. Yeah, we're moving at 100 miles an hour. I warned everybody. I told everybody we're going to be taking over the internet this week, and it's finally happening.
Cool.
We got Nico coming on tonight.
Yes,
Let's talk about this.
Okay.
So
let's do it.
A little bit of information about him. What's the 401 on him? He is a current ABKC judge. Mm-hmm. How do you know him?
Me personally, I don't really know Nico necessarily. I think I've only talked to him like once or twice.
Yeah.
But he is what I would call a newer generation of ABKC judge. So previously we had John Roniker on. He's been doing it since way back in the day. I have to ask Nico. I remember when.
Basically, that's what I was just called. John's old? Super old. John's KRS1.
I can do that, but
anyway. That's what he said. Yeah,
but and Nico's little Uzi Vert.
He's like
John is KRS1.
I don't know if it's been 1 or 2 years. I don't know. I remember them announcing him, and my memory isn't that good, so it had to have been fairly recent, within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So it gives us a perspective from a newer generation.
All right.
Just see if they look at it any differently.
All right. From your perspective, who judges better, old school or newer generation?
Even though, I know, right?
No, I'm just asking.
No, even though, even though I'm an older guy.
Yeah.
I kind of still am in that old school, state of mind when it comes to
classics,
bullies.
like more classic dog.
No.
Well, that's what I think. Old school, right? Like when you think.
You talked to John Roniker. Did he sound like a classic kind of guy?
Classic with nice heads. Yeah.
Yeah. So more the OGs were more like bully. They want to bully, because they had to work so hard to get them there in the first place. So they weren't.
Yeah.
And you've heard me say it before. I'm like, I'm not willing to give up breed type for anything. Like I'm going to maintain it.
What do you mean by giving up breed type? Like, let's just be, because like somebody who's just new listening to this, they're not going to fucking know what that even means. Because.
Okay, so let's say I have a dog that has maybe, I don't know, think of something. He has Easty Westy, right?
Okay.
So if I want to correct that Easty Westy, a lot of people will breed it to a classic to try to clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of times that sacrifices a lot of breed type. So for me, I want to correct the Easty Westy situation, but I'm not going to sacrifice the breed type and then have to work to get it all back again just to correct that one issue. Like I'd rather just work with a dog that is bully already and has good fronts.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was about to ask. Like, why do you think so many people think they have to go to a classic to get clean feet? Is it such a problem to get clean feet from everybody else, or is it just a conception thing? Like, that's just what they hear. So
I think there was a point where they had to do that. Like, that was the only way they were going to find clean feet.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel because this is a head type breed that's why there's so much issues with Easty Westy up front?
Might be. Yeah, there's
a lot of front load on it,
Yeah, I think they narrowed down the acceptability because it used to be pretty broad. Like the dog could be fairly Easty Westy and still get away with it.
Yeah.
But I think they narrowed down that percentage now.
So
the angle.
Digging deeper into the fronts like that, like, do you think a dog that doesn't get as much exercise will more than likely end up with weaker fronts? Because, like they say, athletes, when you well, like my point, like their bone density. So like when you're working out and you're pretty much tearing yourself down and building it back up, and you're getting stronger fronts from therefore exercising more. Do you think, or is Easty Westy a ligament, a joint thing? Like, what is the main issue that causes that?
No,
is
but I know in jiu-jitsu,
genetics?
right?
Is it
like for
puppy
jiu-jitsu, we call it
stage?
jiu-jitsu feet, right?
Yeah.
Where the guy, like the feet are like here because you're constantly
Yeah.
using your hooks. You're
Right.
basically using your hands as feet. I think there's just so much. They're so front heavy. Like I don't think we talked about rear assembly for so long
Yeah.
that it's just so much front load on it. You know.
Well, the
Like I
other
said-
thing is I've seen pups over Easty Westy when they were young,
Yeah.
and then as their shoulders and chest start to pop, you know, and they get that width in their chest, it would turn their feet back in. So I don't think it's something like to be super concerned about when a dog's young, because I've seen dogs straighten up.
And I've seen
just from
dogs who
getting
had
the pop.
tight ass feet as pups and then get
I've
Easty
also
Westy.
heard
So
you-
it's like really weird in that
Yeah.
case like that.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that you can over protein, like you can over
I don't
assumption, like
think
give
that's-
them
I
too
think
much,
that's-
and then
I
it
think that's
create
bullshit.
issues.
I think that the typical in the unit is
That's why I'm asking.
in the
Yeah.
community. I don't want to say unit. The
It's just
community
weird that people because like
is
when
to
I
give
think
them
about that,
SRC.
when you think
But-
about it, right? Like a protein, when it comes to protein, as people, we're probably estimated to take
Mhm.
at least a gram per body weight. So if I'm 180 pounds, I should be taking in a minimum of
Yeah.
180 grams of protein daily. Dog food is really low in protein in most cases. Like
Right.
when you're talking about the comparison overall of what's inside of it. So I don't know where they got that study from or where that assumption comes from, but dogs who tend to be on a high protein diet, which is basically a raw diet, which is minimum 80% protein, right? In most cases, how come they're not having that issue and they thrive?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of. I've seen
Makes
dogs. You
sense.
see
Very
on
good
Facebook
question.
all the time. You'll see a dog at Easty Westy, and they're like, "I'll put them on SRC. It'll straighten them out." So I don't know if there's any facts to that or not, but
That's
it's
just
it's frequently recommended.
Well, you know, they say that's part of the recipe: glucosamine, vitamin C, vitamin D, collagen, all of that. You know, they say will increase the chances of fixing the Easty
I think
Westy,
it's
but there's a lot
genetic.
more that goes
I think
into
a
it.
lot
Like,
has to do with
I
genetics.
always notice, well, yeah, of course that's gonna play a part, but like if you ever notice when a dog's in the crate, like do you think muscle memory plays a part? Because if you look at a dog when it sits down, a lot of dogs instantly sit and their fronts are kicked out like that. So just think like if a dog is constantly in a sitting position or constantly crated, does it create
I think
that issue?
environment can play a role. Yeah, for
I
sure.
would think so. I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always.
I don't know.
good
What do you guys think?
All right. Are y'all ready to? Yeah, leave us some comments. Leave some. Let's roll through some of this stuff and see what y'all
I
got
think
to say.
that
Any opinions
where
out
was
there?
that? FG Border Collie said, "I think it helps more with dropped pasterns than Easty Westy."
Gotcha.
Yeah, let's
All
fire it
right.
up.
Well, y'all ready to bring on our guest? All right. Send my man an invite. Get this show rolling.
Yeah,
They said there's lots of variables. Environment can play a role.
but it's kind of weird when you look at certain breeds, right? Like I've seen Dobermans, right, for example, or a lot of just AKC show dogs that are just, I mean, their feet are tight as shit. Doesn't matter what type of environment it is, you
Right.
know? So it's just
Yeah.
it's an interesting concept. We got Nico on.
I think we're in his
Yo,
pocket.
what's going on, guys?
He is.
No,
He is supporting.
my daughter was playing with my iPad, so I'm trying to.
There you go.
All right,
figure
so
out
before
which
you got
direction I'm
on,
going
Nico, I don't know
here.
if you heard, but Roger calls you basically a new school judge, and he's more of a fan favorite of old school judges. Like, so what are your thoughts on that?
Hopefully he was actually listening.
I only caught the very end when you guys
Okay,
were
so you
talking
missed
about
all
the
that.
Easty
Well,
Westy talk.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was
You
not
were about to want to
factual
come back and
anyway.
maybe
Yeah.
look at that.
Good thing.
I missed the beginning, but I did hear a lot.
Yeah,
of
what's your
interesting
thoughts
talk
on
the
that?
Easty Westy stuff?
You want to dive into
So,
it? Let's dive into
Oh,
it.
absolutely. So here's my thought, and so I've been doing this 10 plus years, 4 or 5 generations deep, and my feet are super, super duper tight. Every single one of my dogs, every single one of my puppies. I think that it's a lot less genetics that people think it is, and I think it's a lot more We have people that are putting way too much weight on these puppies at an early age, and they just can't support the weight.
Yeah.
It's already a bulldog breed, so we're heavy in the front, and you have 3, 4, 5-month-old puppies with way too much excessive weight in slippery crates that have no traction, no nothing, and obviously you have that weight, you have nothing to grip on, the feet just start turning. So what I do is, when I build my whelping box, I have a 4x4 whelping box. I just do, your old school, just whelping box. I get this really, really good carpet from Home Depot. It's called like Stingray something, and it has like the best traction for the puppies. So what I do is, from the moment they're born and they're with their mom, I have them on this carpet that they can get them nails in, they get it on there, and I keep them on that until they're, I make my box twice as big when they start walking around. But I make sure that they are on that good carpeting surface in the first 3 months of their life. And I'm telling you, I've been doing it from the very beginning. I have never had an issue with feet, ever. I've used all types of blood, all types of combinations, all types of everything. I think that you have a lot of people that are cleaning up puppies sucks, right?
Yeah.
So what's the easiest thing to clean up on? Any sort of plastic or slick surface, because all you got to do is clean it up and clean it down. So a lot of people do it, but like I said, you get them on that good carpet, you leave them back feet, you leave them nails a little bit long so they can really get in there. Like I said, I've had great success, and everybody that I've told to do it and have been trying it, they tell me the same thing. And now, like I said, that plays a huge role, but I also don't keep my puppies big. I wait till you're 9, 10 months old. That's when I start packing weight on. I don't need a
So what's your
huge,
strategy on the
puppy.
feeding program? And then, because there's always this common misconception that you have to just constantly allow your pups to feed. I've always, even when I've gotten pups that are 6 to 8 weeks old, I transition to once a day eventually. Like, that's just what I do.
So I like twice a day. I'm a twice a day. I like twice a day. And then that helps, especially with the house training and stuff, especially at a early age, because as soon as they eat, they want to go to the bathroom. So you get them used to it. I like the twice a day. As soon as I wake up in the morning, and then around the time we eat dinner, just to get them in a routine, going to the bathroom, going outside, doing that type of stuff. So I do it twice a day. I don't free feed. They get 5 minutes to eat. If they don't eat that food in 5 minutes, that shit's coming up. They're done eating. So they learn real fast that this is when you're eating, this is when you're going to the bathroom. So it helps set a routine super duper early. And I find it so much easier for them when you sell them puppies to somebody else. You already have them in kind of a routine, and you let your customers know, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it. And I find it so much easier to house break them at that point.
You use a litter box?
Yeah, very true.
I do too.
So I do. So when they get to that, when they get to that age where they start walking, I start weaning them and I start putting them on their food, what I'll do is I'll take that 4x4 box and I'll turn it to a 4x10 box. And at the very back 2 feet of my 10-foot box, I put a 2x4 down in between the carpet, and then I just take my pellets and I put it all in the back there. And they all, within literally a day or two,
Roger and Zach will do that.
I still have issues every once in a while. My girl gets mad all the time.
I think that traction situation in the whelping box has a lot to do with hips too. I think, I think that's we use towels. That way we can take them up and put new ones down. So we have these really huge towels, like the biggest ones we can find. And the towels have that weaving, that kind of hook on it. And so the puppy's nails can get in that weaving of that towel, and they don't slide around. And we leave their nails long as we can.
Let me play devil's advocate there, because I remember we had a few guests before where they said nails was usually the issue. So is there a catch-22 on that, keeping the nails long?
I want the nails longer. I want them to be able to get traction.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Now, how long do you want them at that? So at what point do you start considering, okay, it's time to cut them down and make sure that it's not going to affect their feet as an adult?
So I still will trim them, but I won't trim them down to nothing, because I don't want them getting mastitis or something with the mom. I don't want them scratching mom. So what I'll do is I'll trim the front ones pretty good. The back leg, the back feet, I like to keep them a little bit longer, especially I've had a couple instances where I've had to deal with swimmer pups early on. So, and I've noticed that if you keep them nails longer on them back feet, just a little bit longer, it's easier for them to get them underneath them, easier to put traction down, easier to do everything. So I like to keep them trim up front so they don't scratch mom up, but in the back, I like them to get a little bit longer. But like I said, I still knock them down. I don't want talons on the damn feet.
Yeah.
But,
for sure.
But I don't want them, super, super short to the point where they can't get their traction.
Now, what about when they're feeding off of mom? Do all of y'all go by the 2-hour rule, or do I get to a point where I kind of feel like if they're sleeping and it's past like the 2-hour mark, I'm not finna just wake them up and be like, hey, it's time to eat. Like, I feel like sometimes people put themselves in a position where they're like on this clock schedule where it's like every 2 hours and then they're zombified. They're like, I can't do this shit. And it's like, bro.
Yeah, for me, it depends on how old they are.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks, I don't keep mom with puppies by themselves.
Yeah.
So mom's going in there, she's feeding them, she's cleaning them. Once they've all been cleaned, mom's coming out for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I set that timer for 2.5 hours that first 2 weeks, and they are eating every 2.5 hours. I don't care if they're sleeping. I don't care what they're doing. Now, once they get out of that, once the eyes start opening, once they're regulating body temperatures, once they're moving around, once I'm out of that part where you're scared, then sure, if they're sleeping, they can go a little bit longer. They can, but that first 10 days, 2 weeks, I'm on
Best
them.
to be that way.
Yeah.
Best to be that way.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into this judge stuff. So how long have you been a judge, actually? Because I remember when they announced you, but I just don't remember how long.
Yeah. So
Cool.
It's been 2 years now. Yeah. So it's been 2 years, and I've been, all over the world at this point. I've been
that's amazing.
I've been, from Peru to Colombia to Seattle to Spain to the Philippines. So I've literally been, all over the world, and I'm blessed to be able to say that I've been all over the world doing it at this point, and I've been receiving really good feedback on my judging, on how I come across to people, how they enjoy having me out in the talks that we have after the shows and all that type of stuff. So I'm really enjoying it, and I couldn't be happier to be doing it and be a part of it.
You have a perspective on the kind of European version of the American Bully. Like when you were there in Spain.
I do.
How are their dogs compared to ours? And a lot of, are they with us? Are they falling a little behind?
I'd say they're pretty on par with us. It's like any dog show you go to. They have some stuff that you look at, it's wow, oh shit, that's nice. And then they have the dogs that it's like, oh, maybe they shouldn't be in the show ring. But like I said, that's really anywhere you go. Yeah. Anywhere I go, everywhere I've went, you're not seeing like for me, I think American Bully, like United States, we have the best, we should be the best, we are the best. But really, you go to these other countries, you go to these other places, and they have just as, now, the top of the top dogs, I'm talking your zeros, your blues, they don't quite have that. But when you're talking your nice champions, your nice best of winners, your dogs that can go out and compete, they have them all over the world.
Do you think that the arrogance of the United States American Bully breeder is allowing the international breeders to catch up? It's kind of like one of those things, not to interrupt you, but like basketball, right? Like we're a powerhouse in basketball. Well, now we're not a powerhouse, internationally sometimes we're getting beat because maybe we just took our eye off the ball.
So I don't think it's necessarily the eye off the ball. I think we have Americans that are strictly looking at this as oh shit, I can make a bunch of money on this. Yeah. And we have 80% people that have no freaking clue what they're doing, putting dogs together, trying to get rich. Where you go to these other countries, man, they're about
that makes sense.
They love this shit. You tell them what they need to do to create a show American Bull, they are going to do it. They are not going to cut any corners. They're not going to bullshit. They're not going to waste any time. They're going to use the best of the best shit, and they are going to train that dog morning, night, and day because they're with it. Like I said, I went over to the Philippines. It's been a couple months since I've been over there, And man, when I tell you, they got me excited about the American Bullies again. How crazy they were about it, how much they loved it, how much they wanted it.
My girl's family is Filipino, and like they hit her up all the time.
Is that what they
like American Bullies?
sound like, Zach?
Yeah.
What's
My
the accent?
just went.
What's the accent?
How like that, bro? Yeah.
Oh, the American Bully.
Don't do me like that, bro. The American Bully, no, real shit. And then like my mother-in-law just went and visited family back home, and she would text and call and send pictures of dog after dog after dog.
Yeah.
And it's just a big trend right down. Like they're with it. They love the bully down there.
They do, and they're not with the bullshit. Like I've sold now 4 dogs to the Philippines now.
Yeah.
And not run of the mill dogs, like top of the line, top shit dogs. And like I said, they're not cutting corners, they're not skipping. They want the best of the best, and then they're buying the best of the best from the top breeder here, from the top breeder there, and then they're doing it the right way.
Of their shows, like
and
they put it on too. Like it's no joke. Like their shows look nice.
Yeah.
So I just went to your normal. There was one show. I was the only judge there, and then the day before they had an exotic show. It was to the quality of our nationals. I'm talking the billboards outside. I'm talking the lights. I'm talking the rings.
Yeah.
They had hosts like from the television inside that ring hosting it. From the awards, they had the best handler. The trophy was as big as me.
Damn.
And it was like I said, they put so much money, so much time, so much effort into this stuff. And like I said, it's not just the Philippines. You go down to South America, Central America, man. Those are the funnest shows you'll ever be a part of. There's no
cheer and clap.
Everybody's happy. Everybody's excited. You give somebody a 3rd place ribbon, they want to take your picture after the show. They're so excited to get that.
It means more to them, yeah.
It means everything.
Yeah.
Let me give somebody a 3rd place ribbon in Allentown. I'm the
Roger.
worst judge ever.
Raj.
I wasn't there.
Raj.
I wasn't there.
Yeah. So do you I mean that's just the American way,
It's
right? Like we kind of just
American way.
Yeah, we're just like whatever. It doesn't really mean what it means to the rest
we're
of the
very
world.
competitive here.
Yeah.
Are we though?
To them to
Yeah.
be a part of something like this is over the top, yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, if you had to choose, what other country would you say is leading the forefront as having the best dogs?
Other than the United States, obviously.
Well,
Because that American shit again.
the United States is the top right now. I will say I have to probably lean. I haven't been to all the European cities, so I can't break down different countries in Europe. I was impressed with the dogs in Europe. I will say, and I've been saying it for a little while now, I think in a couple years, the Philippines is going to have the best of the best.
Right.
The way they're buying shit up, the way they're buying these dogs, the way they're, I think in a couple years, the Philippines will be at the top of the top.
Yeah, which says a lot, man, because, in retrospect, not a lot of people in the Philippines have a lot of money to be really, and to think that they're going over the top to buy a dog and invest into something like this really means a lot, bro. It really means a lot.
It's crazy, but it also speaks a lot to where we're at right now in the American Bully in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're having a huge time right now, and that's specifically in the show ring with the direction that this breed's going. We have people to the far left that, American Bullies were created off pit bulls. They should carry the pit bull look. They should have their style of the classic American Bully, which is not a classic American Bully, but trying to put that to the people is easier said than done. Some people just can't grasp that concept. And then you have the people to the other far extreme, want to breed bulldogs. They don't care about the way they move. They don't care about the way they walk. They don't care. Like, we're having such a hard time right now finding that happy median of that bull that you look at and you say, oh shit, oh wow, but it still functions. It still drives off the rear. It still moves. It still has a eagerness to move around the ring. And like I said, that's where we're at right now. And I think that's the hardest part about the direction we're going right now, because I think it's very unclear to so many people the exact direction that the Bully's going.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you got a zinger there. Go ahead.
A singer.
Come on, we're waiting.
Do you feel like it's some of the breeders' non-willingness to sacrifice breed type
Oh, okay.
It was one of the biggest problems. You know what I mean? Like they were not willing to go backwards to go forwards in a way. You know what I mean? Just to sell dogs.
You should,
or vice versa.
You should never.
Or vice versa.
You should.
Well, then
never
how
go
do you
backwards.
fix that then? Like
and I say
as
it
far
all
as
the
without
time.
sacrificing breed type.
Yeah, I was just asking that question. I was just asking at the beginning. So like when people hear cleanup, they automatically think you have to go to a classic. But like I was asking Roger about feet, why should we have do we always have to go to the classic? Is there other, but like you just said, never go backwards.
Look at the classic class, and even like I said, now I'm talking a true classic. I'm not talking about a pit bull. Because a classic should still scream American Bully, should still have type, should still have bone, should still have amazing head shape. That is a classic American Bully. That's where a lot of people are missing the total mark on there. And like I said, when I'm judging and I'm withholding and I'm trying to explain to people, like, this is not an American Bully. This is not what we should be striving for.
Yeah.
Like the novices always say two
Terrier,
terrier, right?
This is not what...
We got
I'm just saying.
like a notebook
I'm
there,
just
bro.
saying. Like that's what I hear all the
shit
time.
Roger said one time. Let me find some more.
I'm just saying. I want the authentic. I want to hear it from the judge.
So do you think the representation of what comes out for the classic class or ends up in the classic class is a bad representation at this point?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. We have some really nice classics, but the issue that we've been running into the most is you'll have that 15-inch male, that 16-inch male. That's a pocket, doesn't carry your pocket substance type, and they're being pushed into a classic class, which is 1,000% wrong. There is no such thing as a 15, 16-inch male classic. All you have there is a pocket that lacks type. That's it. There's no such thing. And that's the hardest thing that we're having right now to deal with is we have people that have these 16-inch males, 15-inch males that, he looks like a classic. He's a classic. No, he's not. He's a pocket that should be shown as
I had that happen to me with my female. Like she got pushed. She's 16 inches, right? So I had her in pocket at first. And then I talked to a few judges once I realized that a lot of people were, like her first show, she did good. She took the show. She won. Boom, boom, boom. In the pocket class under Alex and Devin. Well, then her next show, she came back and it was like not the same energy in the pocket class. Everybody was just passing on her. So I started asking and they wicked her and they was like, she needs to be in the classic. She's too tall for pocket. But then it was weird to me because when I got the pocket, when I got the classic, they're like, okay, female classic is 16 inches and up, right?
Correct.
So I get there and then I'm going up against my competition is females that's shorter than my female. And I'm like, well, how is this even a classic if it's not even 16 inches? So do you think the classic sometimes is just a throwaway class?
I think that's what it's becoming. And I think that's what we're trying to get out of and avoid right now. And that's what, like, when I talk judges, I'm speaking strictly ABKC.
Yeah.
I'm not involved around, anything to do with any other. I don't bash any other registry. I support them all.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking, this is strictly ABKC. So this, I think, is a point that we've together been really trying to make a point of and really trying to get on the same exact page. That way it's the same across the board. And like I said, when it says that, we are very strict between standard and pocket, correct?
Yeah.
It's wicketed. It's cut and dry, standard and pocket.
And I've seen a lot more sticks coming out a lot more lately.
Correct. So we need to be just as strict when it comes to classic and pocket. It's the same thing, and it shouldn't be a throwaway class. Now, if I had to guess, I don't know if we're ready for it now, but I could see years down the line where eventually the classic class does go away. I could.
Yeah.
Because...
Or, I always ask, do you think they should just compete against themselves?
Well, where do
like
the pockets with like type go?
Do their own thing?
If there's so many.
Nowhere to go. They got nowhere to go.
They're not show dogs.
Yeah.
Well, then,
They're not show dogs.
So here's a question for you because I've been curious about this. The classic is a part of our show system. We all know this. But when we continue to push, and I continue to hear people to say we need the breed to move forward, how does the breed move forward by championing a classic or grand championing a classic? Now, I have classics, and I have a grand champion classic. But if the theme is, hey, let's move the breed forward, does that classic really move the breed forward to put it up like that?
It depends if you're talking a real true classic. Because like I said, if you have a real true classic, yes, there is absolutely still room for them. There is. It's needed right now until we can perfect our breed enough to the point where it's no longer needed, if that makes sense. And that's where we were kind of talking about before when we're talking about breeding backwards. If you have a true classic, like I said, they're still going to have all that, the substance. They're still going to have the bone. They're still going to have the head shape. They're still going to have everything. The biggest difference you're going to get is they're not going to fully have it throughout. And I say that when you look at a nice big standard male that's thick from the front of the shoulders to the back of the rear. That's what you want. Now, not all dogs are built that way. Some have beautiful fronts. They lean out, taper a little bit. They're still great looking dogs, but they don't quite have it all the way through. So I say that because I have seen some beautifully built classics. Now, me personally, am I breeding to that? Am I going to go to that classic male? No, I'm not. But could I take that classic female that's built beautifully, that brings everything to the table, that has everything, and because she is so damn clean, take her to something a little bit more extreme? Fuck yeah, all day long. And that's how you're going to...
Do you think the female classic is more valuable than the male at this point?
As far as breeding purposes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it gives you more room. It gives you more room to play with.
Got you.
You can go to that male that might not be a show dog, that might not have the best whatever she's lacking, whatever he has, whatever she has. Right. You can play with it a little bit more. Now, are you really going to take a nice, thick, standard bitch and then take her to a classic male?
Why?
Probably not. Why would you? Why would you want to take mass substance size off your female?
I'm just asking. I'm trying to educate the viewer.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because,
no, I mean, that makes sense. You're not really...
The whole... I use him as a standpoint because I feel like he's such a complete dog. You have a dog like Blue that just front to back is just an American bully. Muscle, thickness, type, everything. Like, you have dogs like Zero. You have dogs like Samson. We have dogs that are put together beautifully that carry all the stuff we're looking for. That's what we should be breeding towards. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what we should be looking for. Now, like I said, if you have to also look at where you're lacking, where your female's lacking, where, you know what I mean, and then breed off of that. But we have too many nice dogs.
And we brought that up. I think it was last show. We brought it up many times. The most popular dog in our breed, or the most popular dog on Facebook, is hardly ever, never a show dog. You know, even though that should be the dog that's absolutely the most popular.
Correct. But you also have to put into just because a dog looks the part, are they going to produce the part? And that's a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Which is like I said, in my breeding program, why I've been so successful because of the amount of line breeding, the amount of inbreeding I do, the amount of to lock in the consistency. So, but that's a whole. I mean, we could talk about anomalies about breeding and all that type of. I could go on and on and on and on and on about breeding. You know what I mean? But like I said, I wanted to talk, more about the judging, about what we're looking at, what we're seeing, to kind of get everybody on the same page. Because like I said, I'm a very open book. At the end of my classes, you can come talk to me. Yeah. After I hand out the ribbons, you can ask me why. At the end of the show, I make myself very available for anybody that ever has any questions. You don't really see much of the issues actually in show. You see a lot of the issues from the Facebook pictures the next day, and this person that hasn't even been at the show. And you got I feel like that's your biggest issue right now is literally Facebook and social media, not the actual shows. Because the people at the shows know the deal. They know the competition they're going against. They know the dogs that they're going against. They know the issues with their dogs. You have so many people that are going off, screenshots and videos and this and that. And it's just so many uneducated people that are just talking just for the sake of talking. And I feel like that's what gives everything
to me,
such
it's
a
like,
bad
okay, last week we talked
rep
about
right
Stackhouse,
now.
and I said Zero's the current Stackhouse king because he dominates show ring and stuff like that. And you would have thought I called Zach and Roger racist, how much they disagreed with me. And so, but I'm thinking like, okay, so the American Bully is based off exaggerated features, right? And so, you know, it's
Correct.
With Stackhouse, I feel like Stackhouse in a way it actually hurts the breed because it promotes exaggerated features instead of going after dogs like you say. Let's build more blues. Let's build more zeros.
Correct.
What's your thoughts on Stackhouse? Do they help the breed? They hurt the breed?
I totally hurt.
Told you guys.
Totally hurt the breed.
You were all for him last week.
I didn't say nothing. Yeah.
Now, I'm all for you got some badass dogs. You want to get some pictures. You want to get them together.
Yeah.
You want to have a good time. We've been doing that for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
But the whole like, let me just stack the dog off. Let me bait the dog forward. Let me not show you his fucked up rear and just show you the front and have everybody.
Yeah, I'm like, why don't we have say
It's
exaggerated tight feet and beautiful top line and great rear assembly? There's no Stackhouse on that. It's just, to me, it's just like the extremities on top of extremities.
Correct, but I agree. Now, I'd like to take that and I'd like to roll that into the actual stack at a dog show. And I want to give you my opinion when I'm judging a show on the stack, on the dog, when I'm going over it. I feel like, now I can always speak for myself. You have people, you have handlers, and I'll shout out my woman handlers because they're the best out there.
Yeah.
You have these handlers that can make any dog look beautiful in their stack. Any dog look beautiful in their stack. So I say that in saying this. You have the end of the, all right, I went over the dogs, front, back, down, around, everybody stack up at the end. You can make any dog look good at the end to give them their placement. I say that, and I tell this to everybody all the time. I don't care how good you can stack your dog. When I'm judging your dog, I'm going over your dog, that front to back, and when that goes around. Does the stack play a big factor in the champion class, in the grand champion class? Absolutely, because they need to have that. They need to be able to hold that down. But at the end of the day, a show ring is not a stack off.
Yeah.
So just because you can take that bait, you can lean it forward, you can load that rear up, you can get them leaning, you can get them looking like they have angulation, you can make them look like the top line. That's all good and amazing. But when they move, if it all falls apart, that stack doesn't mean a damn thing.
At their natural being.
And I think for the viewers, that's one of the things that that I just try and pound home. It's amazing that your dog has a beautiful stack. A dog does not win and does not place off of a stack. Like I said, if that dog, when he front to back, if he's cowhawked like a motherfucker, if he's so loaded up on that front that he is zero push off the rear, that's where I'm making my decision. I'm not making my decision in that final, going over in the stack, And like I said, ring performance does play a factor. So when you're talking about your majors, when you're talking about your champions, when you're talking about your grand champions, performance absolutely plays a huge determining factor. But just because the dog stacks well doesn't make it.
So when the dogs are in the stack,
you know what I mean?
You're going over them. You're not looking at mass or none of that. You're actually looking for structural cues. Like, talk about going over that dog and kind of feeling the dog, what you're doing.
When I'm going over in the beginning, obviously I look at the bite. First thing we look at, we want to see the bite. From there, I'm going over the shoulder. I want to see the shoulder set. And compared to the withers, to the shoulder set, to the forechest, I want to see exactly where that shoulder's forward. A lot of our dogs' shoulder sets are not where they need to be. Super loaded up front, lack the upper arm. So I basically, if you see me go over a dog, I basically am going over from the withers to the forechest to the back of the shoulder, and I'm looking at the angles and I'm seeing how they line up. From there, all I'm doing is I'm going back to the rear. Tail, we don't want any kinks. We want it to the back of the hawk, testicles, all that type of stuff. And like I said, I'm checking the rear. I'm touching rotating the hips. You wouldn't believe how many of these dogs you go back on the hips and you can literally feel the hips popping in and out as you're going over them. Yeah. And as you do that, then I feel that, and then I okay, well, I know I got to look for this when they're moving, when they do that front and back. And typically, as soon as they do that back, I'm like, oh shit, that's what I felt. You know what I mean? So like I said, going over the dog, watching them stack, looking at the stack is a part of the show, and it's important. But like I said, there's nothing that helps me make my pick more than that front and that back and that around. Because like I said, at that point, you can't hide anything.
That's where the majority, basically, you're saying of your judgment is coming from the down and back and going around. You're looking at the movement of the dog.
That's where.
Now, let me ask you this, Nico. Let's just say out of 10 judges, right, ABKC judges, how many are you guys trained to look for stuff like that, or are you guys a lot different when it comes to judging like that?
Okay. I think that we're pretty on par when it comes to judging. Now, all judges have little differences that they do, and I think that's what's needed right now. You don't want to go to a show where all judges are exactly the same and going to give you the exact same thing, and you're going to give you the like. It's nice that some people have a little bit different interpretations on what they really want, what they really like, what they can kind of dismiss, what they can kind of. We're not at the breed yet.
Yeah, where it's like people have to cherry pick what shows they go to. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I hear all the time. Like, hey, I can't go to this show where I know, or like, I went to a show with Zach and multiple times, like, oh, we're not going to win this one. I'm like, what? You know, like, well, this judge is doing, this judge likes this favorite type of dog. And I'm like,
I mean, we spoke about it on here. That's just things that are discussed when you get there. That's what the culture, like, they're going to tell you. Even if you're not asking somebody, you could just be standing on the sideline with your dog, and they'll literally tell you, be like, hey, bro, this judge likes front, so you're probably going to have a good chance. Your dog's got nice feet. Or, hey, man, you're not going to pick your dog. He's got not enough mass. You know what I'm saying? It's just talk that happens on the sidelines, bro. It's just.
I think every guest we've had on has
it's
said
good.
that. Everyone.
And it is very important to take your personal preferences out of there. Yeah. It's impossible to take them totally out of there because we all have our things that we like. But like I said, we're judging to the written standard. There is a written standard for a reason. Yeah. Now, I will say, to back it up a little bit, when I was talking about the front and the back, and I was talking about the circle, and I was talking about all that, super duper important. But if your dog doesn't fit the bill, it doesn't matter how well they move. And I want that to be made sure that that's very, very important. Your dog can front and back float like a fucking horse. It could trot around there beautifully. It can, if it doesn't scream American Bully, if it doesn't look American Bully, if I don't say wow, then it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? And that's very important because you get the people, well, this dog, he didn't move as well as my dog. No, he might not have, but he looks like an American Bully. So it's also, like I said, it's not real cut and dry right now. And it's never going to be because of the amount of differences that you have in the dog. But it's about finding the best representation for the breed and to move it forward. You know what I mean? So like I said, and then you can also have that dog that has just so much fucking mass. It's sloppy, and you get the people, well, he moves. Well, congratulations. He's a fucking dog. He's supposed to move. He don't move correctly, but that comes into education, and that comes to talking to people, and that gets to, explaining
I think that's
truly
the biggest
what
thing
they
that
have.
People freak out on Facebook about is anytime they see a judge put a dog up that had some 50-foot flaw, high rear is the best one. Everyone sees that. So they see a dog get put up in the champion class and it's got a high rear, or ends up being a champion because that last points it needed. And but it's got a high rear and the other dog was just lacking, and they go ballistic on Facebook over it. Like they just don't understand why the judge would put up a dog that's bully with a high rear versus a dog that isn't bully and moves perfectly.
So, and you get the people, well, the high rear, the this, the that. What's the dog's rear look like when it's moving? That's my biggest thing. You get so many dogs that aren't stacked properly. You'll get handlers that don't know what they're doing, just not doing their dog justice. But when it moves, it's there. Everything's perfect. But you go to that end of the stack, and I do it all the time.
That's Blue's story. When you think about it, when David was handling Blue, Blue wasn't getting looked at the same, right? And then, he gets approached, he gets a handler, and you got a national champ.
Yeah. So a handler makes such a difference. But it's just like I said, there's just so many.
So it's not classics that the
breed
issue.
is so
It's the
young.
classics that lack
You know what I mean?
type that seem to be an issue. Then.
Well, the standards or pockets that lack.
I just feel like it's a bad representation of the classics.
Correct. Which is why, anybody that can say that they've shown under me, I have no issue withholding ribbons. My first place ribbon can be withheld. If I give you a first place ribbon, the major can be withheld. If I look at your dog and I can't honestly say that dog deserves to be an ABKC champion,
I commend you for
cannot
that
give you
because I think
points
that's
towards
a society problem too. Everybody's,
can't.
like these participation. How do you say it? Participate. How do you say it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Participate. I'm fucking talking like Zach right now.
Precipitation awards,
Yeah.
When it rains, you get award.
Yeah.
That's how
when
peas
it
and
rains.
rain.
So hey guys,
Well,
those are listening because this has just been a great interview. If you guys have questions for Nico, go ahead and put him in the question box now. Because put him in there right now, and
feel free.
we'll start asking him those questions. But go ahead. I know Raj, you have some other questions.
Yeah.
If you have anything critical to say about Stan, always picking on me, you can do that too in the question mark box.
Yeah. I just hold you accountable. That's all. I'm just a neutral guy who wants to know the truth. I want different perspectives.
And it's breeders like me that I think one way, some breeder may think the other way. But I think at the end of the day, if what we bring to the ring fits the bill, you know what I mean? We might be coming from different directions, but if we meet in the middle and find something that works, I think there's no problem with that at all.
Correct. Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Salty Bullies 808 says, is there anything in particular that makes you immediately look past a particular dog in the ring, especially in the bigger classes?
So much of that depends on the class itself, if that makes sense. If it's a huge, big class and all the dogs are super nice, then it's harder to narrow it down. But I mean, I guess the biggest one is if it doesn't scream American Bully, if I can't look at it and tell you that that's an American Bully, then that right off the rip from there, that's just like, oh no. You know what I mean? Like I can't do that.
So lack of breed type.
It has to.
Does it go for both directions for you as far as like it's two terrier versus it's two bulldog? Even like you're like it's two bulldog. I can't.
Oh yeah, 100%. I had. Now I'll never. So as a judge, the one thing I'll never do is I'll never talk about a dog publicly that somebody else doesn't want to talk about. I'll never bring somebody else's dog in. I have people ask me all the time, well, what did you think of this dog? I will never speak on anybody's dog unless they directly ask me to do it publicly. So I will never do that ever to anybody. But I had one in Allentown and he was just too much. He just wasn't a show dog. And they asked me straight up, what do you think of my boy? I said, he's impressive, but he's not a show dog. And they looked at me and they were like, you know what? I can appreciate that. Thank you. They shook my hand and kept it moving. You know what I mean? Now, every dog's not meant for the show ring, and that's why we call them breed tools. I have breed tools. Most of your top breeders have breed tools. Not every dog's meant for the show ring. Not every dog's going to win in the show ring. It doesn't, you know what I mean? So that's that. But like I said, yes, two on each way. Yes, you can have too much or you can have not enough.
Yeah. All right. Safari Bully says, can you also speak about how the ABKC judges French bulldogs as the standard is different?
From what's other standard are we talking?
I think she's just meaning from the bully to the Frenchie. The standard's different.
Can you speak on how the French bulldog and the bully difference?
I'm guessing, like maybe I guess just like how you go about judging a Frenchie.
I think that's
like what's the criteria, like what instead of versus what you look for a bully.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So French bulldog, the most important thing on a French bulldog is the squareness. You want a nice square French bulldog. You don't want it too tall, you don't want it too short, you don't want it too long, you don't want it too short. You want it square. You want it when it's moving, you want them back legs, front legs to just converge and touch. You don't want way too much space, and you don't want the point where we're smacking into each other and we're too short. The silhouette of a French bulldog is, I mean, one of the most known breeds that there are. You see a French Bulldog from the side, and you know it's a French Bulldog. I'm talking from the neck to the little rise in the back to the, like I said, everything. It's an established breed already. So I feel like the French Bulldog is, one of the easiest breeds to judge because it's been a breed that's been around forever. It's established.
Yeah, how close is the
AKC
how close is the standard from ABKC and AKC? And do you see an ABKC dog doing, champion doing well in AKC?
Oh, you see it all the time. Especially, you look at Chris White's program. You know, his French Bulldogs. He can take them French Bulldogs anywhere and win. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the quality's there. Especially recently, we've been having some beautiful French Bulldogs come out, and they are really getting better.
Well, do you think
a
French Bulldog could ever win the ABKC National Championship since they're actually closer to the standard than probably some American Bulldogs are closer to their standard?
Absolutely. I could absolutely see it. I don't think that's far-fetched at all, to see. You could see any of these breeds take it. But we had a pit bull take it a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, I believe his name was Marcus Middleton, the dude that produced him.
Yeah. So any of the breeds can take it, but like I said, the French Bulldog is such. Now it's an American Bully breed, so you're talking nationals. Odds are your American Bully is going to take it, but is it possible? Fuck yeah. Yeah. All dogs have a shot. But like I said, as far as if there's any other things that they want to know specifically about the French Bulldog and what I'm looking for, but like I said, it's very cut and dry. You want a square French Bulldog. You don't want a 40-pound French Bulldog. You want a proportionate. You don't want it too long. You don't want it too short. You don't want it too long width-wise. You want a square French Bulldog. It doesn't get much simpler or easier than that.
Better stand up, like straight.
Oh well, ear set is a French Bulldog. If they're out to the side or they're not. It's just.
Yeah. Now, what about the eyes? Like the eyes, I heard someone, like when they look directly at you, you should not see any whites in their eyes.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
You have that, and then go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Basically, he was going to say Zach is a French Bulldog because you never see whites in his eyes. They're always fucking red.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that's right, cuz. 360 West Coast says, as a judge, are you biased towards a certain class and do you favor a certain class?
No, I absolutely wouldn't say I was biased towards a certain class. For me, my favorite class of judge is the champion class, where you have a mix of every pocket, standard, classic.
So at that point, when you got an array of dogs in there, what's your process then? It's paused to like when you're in the pocket class, you're looking for all pockets, but champion, you got, like you said, XL, standard, pocket, classic. So what's your process like? Does it change and how does that go?
It changes because you have more quality at that point.
Yeah.
So you're going to have multiple champion dogs in there that are deserving of a champion title. So for me personally, when I'm picking a champion, show performance plays a big factor in it. The way they move, I need a well-moving champion, whether it's a pocket, whether it's an XL, whether they need to move. I need push off the rear. We lack a lot of push off the rear. We have a lot of loaded fronts where we're up on the front and the rears will just drag behind. I can't have a champion like that. I need a dog that is going to move, that is going to push off the rear, that's going to scream American Bully, and that it's going to fit its, the standard that it calls for, no matter what breed that, pocket, standard, XL, classic it is. But I'm very big on movement when it comes time.
Speaking of XLs, out of let's just say 1 through 10 scale, from being closest to 10 versus being still far away, where do you see the XLs right now, currently at a state today? Holy shit! Okay,
1 out of 10.
Don't hold back though. Like, tell me what
they're gonna get tired of us on this show. The XL community is gonna ban us, bro.
They're
terrible. They like type or like,
they're nothing.
So you have XLs that totally lack the mass, the bone, the substance, the type. But not only do they lack the substance, the bone, the type, they're easty westy. They have no front shoulders. They're cowhawked. They're not even like. And this isn't speaking for all of them because there are some nice XLs. Don't get me wrong. There's some very nice XLs. Yeah. but for the majority of your class XLs, not only are they lacking, they're not conformationally correct either. So it's like I could live with them if, like I said, conformationally they were beautiful, but they just lacked a little bit, because it's harder. They're a bigger dog. But the issue is not only are they lacking, they're structurally just flawed up.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually had a meeting with the XL. I forget. I think it was a Georgia show I did afterwards. I withheld every XL.
From your perspective, shouldn't you just get rid of the XL class versus the classic class first? I mean, the classic's going to be more closer and more cleaned up dog, right?
No, because the XL is a breed, always has been a breed, and there's XLs that are doing it the right way. There are some beautiful XLs. So you can't punish the people that are doing it correctly for the people that aren't. What I tell people in the XL class, like I said, I had one specifically in Georgia where I did withhold every XL class. Yeah. And I explained to them very simply, and I put it this way: if I gave you your dog a first place and then I gave him a best male, what would you go home saying? And they looked at me and they said, that I got something, that I'm doing it right, that I'm pushing. I said, absolutely. And I cannot do that. I said, I will not do that. I will not give you false hope. I will not make you guys think that you're going in a better direction than you are. Because right now our XLs are lacking and we need to fix them. And the first place you're going to fix them is in the show ring. If we don't award them, if we don't put them up, if we don't major them, if we don't turn them into champions, the people will have no choice but to fix them. Yeah. So I feel like with the judges that it starts with us and fixing it. You know what I mean? If we continue to put up, you know, subpar stuff.
Do you feel like you're getting pushback from other judges on that?
Yeah.
I don't think
I commend it. I think it takes some stones, you know, to be able to do the right thing.
Well, I mean, I like I said, I was in Pensacola at a show one time and personally watched Dave get on the microphone and pretty much tell the XL community the same exact thing. And he was like, you know, it's far-fetched from what it started as. They don't look nothing like what they should. And I would highly encourage everybody in the building that breeds XLs to do a better job on next production.
That's what he said. You're using Dave as a scapegoat.
We'll find the video footage.
I ain't gonna lie.
We'll find the footage.
In the XLs, I will tell you that in the other
you send him some shit or something.
They're so much better.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, every day
I'm telling you,
he's been taking notes today, bro.
He's been taking notes. No, I like XLs as long as they look like bullies.
Yeah.
Well, that's like 100%. I always said. I just feel like they're sloppy.
They're either too sloppy or they're too terrier, right?
Yeah, that's right. Too damn terrier.
Well, I mean, that's very true.
Actually, they're mastiff.
Because in retrospect, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, yeah, you got to get that big, bro. But correct me if I'm wrong, Nico. Like, for those that are listening, a true XL should have no change from the standard except for height.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. No, it's correct. Now, is it a lot harder to do? Yeah. Fuck yeah. It's a lot harder to do. Is it achievable? Absolutely. But it's going to take generations and generations of true breeding. You're not going to be able to just throw shit at the wall and come out with a nice, big, standard-looking XL. Yeah. It's impossible. You're literally going to have to build up to it. And that's the issue that I'm seeing with the XL breed. We're just trying to she's 20 inches, he's 20 inches. Fuck it, let's breed it. We got XL.
The problem with that is if you look at it and you say, okay, let's take 0. And we're going to blow him up so his legs are XL height. Like his chest would be 3.5 feet wide. Yeah. Like that would be an insane dog. And they're not even anywhere near that.
Yeah.
So there has to
ratio.
So I would imagine there has to be some consideration for that width.
There's absolutely give that you're going to get. You're not going to get a 0 on an XL body. It's literally impossible. But I will say that there are XLs out there that you look at them and you're, holy shit.
Oh,
like I said, when I was in Spain, when I was at that Euro Nationals, dude, there was multiple nice XLs. You go down to South America, Central America, they have big ass, big boned, well put together XLs. They truly do. You know, so like I said, it can be achieved. It can be done. It's just
gonna take time.
It just has to be done. And not everybody brings their dogs in the show ring. You know,
very true.
Is there nice XLs out there that have never hit a show ring? Probably, you know, but I
think that's the hard part for them, because you can take a pocket and they don't have to be super wide to look very wide. You know what I mean? Because their legs are short. And even the standard, if you're on the low end of standard, just where I prefer, that dog doesn't have to be crazy wide to look wide, you know, but to get an XL to look wide, I mean, that is going to have to be wide for real. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of dog.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, I think that was good information. I didn't even have to ask you any questions. You just answered them all right there.
Yeah. So before we get up out of here, what's one thing you want to leave the people with that they should know before you ride out?
I just want
to just say how you feel.
Don't
bite your tongue for Roger.
Yeah, don't bite your tongue. We don't hold
Zach.
back.
No, I just want to see more dogs out in these show rings. I see nothing but these monstrous, great-looking dogs on all over Facebook, videos in the yards here, people talking about this best dog. You know, I'd say this: if they're not photoshopped, if they're real dogs, if they're real bulls,
Zero is the current Stack-Off King, boys. He does it both in and outside the ring.
We need them. We want to see them. You know, like I said, I don't care what.
Well, Blue's arguably too.
Still Team Blue.
But
holding it down for my boy.
It don't matter the registry. You know, get these dogs out and show them.
Well, I was going to bring that up, too, about the XL while we was on the XL, because me and Stan were on the phone one night, and I ended up on the – no, you're in it now, bro. But we were on the BRC website, and we were looking at their classes, and they deem the XL a whole different thing. Like, they say that they're working on its own standard because they feel like the makeup and the genetics of the XL is different from the rest of the bullies. And is that because do you think that they think there's, you know, Mastiff in there? Is there – all these other breeds that they tried to use to get the XL as big as it is now?
I can't speak for them. Because honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
I just thought it was interesting. I was like,
or what they're thinking. Now, I mean, it's the same breed as far as I'm concerned. Now, years ago, you know, were American bullies created using pit bulls? I mean, everybody can believe what they want to believe. But we all know that there's special sauce, you know, throughout when these dogs were first created. You know what I mean? We're not blind to the facts. You know what I mean? Now today we're more established at this point. You know what I mean? We have pedigrees, we have all that type of stuff to where we know actually what these dogs are coming off of. But no, like I said, an XL it's an American bully. You know, it's not we're not going to be doing F1 XLs where you're going to be breeding, you know, a Mastiff straight to this dog or an American Bulldog to this dog. We're past that point in the American Bully. We are.
Facts,
you know, it's not a breed that we're still going to be creating. It's already.
That's funny because Anthony we had on, I think it was last week, and he said, you know, some of the best XLs out there right now are not a product of XLs. They're a product of two standards breeding, and then
correct.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you properly breed an XL. You need that mass, that size, that substance from a standard, and you have to strategically, slowly bring it up to an XL. So I couldn't agree more with him in that statement, because I think that's exactly how it's done. And I think that we have some awesome standards that are right at the top of that cusp that could really, truly help out.
I think you have to be really smart and strategic. You got to have a clear direction towards that. If you're going to breed towards XL, you got to have clear direction. Because
correct.
You start line breeding and inbreeding, you're gonna make a dog smaller, right? But if you strategically breed correctly, you could. There's enough blood out there, like you said. There's enough resources out there to make a good, solid XL.
Absolutely. You know, and that's what it's all about. No matter what you're breeding, what class you're breeding, you know, to breed a good quality fucking dog, you know, and that's important, you know, and that you also have people, you know, quality of life on these dogs. It's important, you know, the hips on these dogs. It's important, you know, you're selling these dogs. You know, I sell a lot of my dogs, you know, family pets, you know, companion homes. you don't want to sell somebody a dog that's not going to be able to walk when they're 3-4 years old. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think as a community, we really have to look in the mirror, and we got to get a lot better on that as well. You know, just because it looks really cool standing there, what's the quality of life on the dog?
Yeah, no.
I think it's super, super important and something that needs to be, you know, especially with the way that we're going right now. Like I said, we're in a breed type. And I feel like that's good, but I feel like it could be taken way too far to the extreme when you're talking about that. So, like I said, everything you need to do
the beginning starts with having reputable people like you coming on here and us being able to have these open conversations to talk about the problem so we can come up with solutions.
Sure.
We're not always going to all agree, that's the beauty about this. It's like, let's sit down, let's talk about the problems, to solve these problems and come up with solutions, because at the end of the day, we really care about it. We're all passionate about the American Bully. So
exactly. And like I said, that's why he said he was looking for ABKC Judge to come on. I'll come on whenever you guys want.
And we got to do a part 2.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
This is extraordinary. Like, we want to bring people on who bring value and are willing to talk about the shit that needs to be talked about, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, and any questions, my inbox is always open. Anybody ever wants to talk, and that's one thing that I definitely want to say. If you are at a show, if I am there, if I am judging, ask questions. Yeah. That's what we're there for. We're there to help get this breed forward. If you don't know something, if you have a question about something, if you need an understanding of something, that's why we're there. You can always come up to me at a show.
Well, for those who are listening, I know we're going to be transitioning to Zoom, and so maybe we can put together like a big judges show where we got maybe 4, 5, 6 of you guys on here, and we can really just move this needle in the right direction.
That'd be absolutely awesome, and I could definitely reach out to a couple people that I'm sure would definitely be,
because we're here to support you guys too. I know it's tough to be a judge. I mean, because you got to do the right thing, right? And doing the right thing is fucking hard.
You guys have. I tell people all the time. You only got one happy person at the end of the show. So we don't do it to make
you guys
friends.
catch a lot of shit.
You know what I mean? And we catch a ton of shit, and we judge our own friends, and we don't put our own friends up if they don't have the quality dog, and we have like I said, we don't do it to make friends. We do it for the breed. You know what I mean? But like I said, that's what we're all here for. So like I said, I'm an open book. Anybody ever has any questions personally, it doesn't have to be through here. I'm on Facebook. I'm at the shows. Come up to me.
Definitely appreciate you, man, having you in my networking circle, man, over here at X Dog and Muscle Bully. And Zach, you want to any last closeouts?
I think, man, that was a pretty good episode. We pretty much touched everything. Like I said, let them know where they can contact. What's your name on Facebook so they got everything?
So I'm Nico Christino. Look me up just on Facebook on there. And then, like I said, you'll see me at the shows. I judge. I'm judging all over the damn place. And if I'm not judging, I'm showing. And it's even easier to talk to me when I'm not judging. So if I'm just walking around, showing, doing all that type of shit, come talk to me. We can chat. I love talking.
Well, guys, thank y'all so much. I love y'all, man. And as always, Team X Dog strong.
See you guys.